We're gonna start with Name That Head.
Oh, we're in it.
Boom, we're live. Skitty Scat, we're live. How are you, Jack?
Skinny scat? Is that what
Skiddity,
is that?
skiddity Scat. Skiddly that.
Skinny. You got an echo going.
Since I hit record,
Yeah.
it's different.
There it is. It's gone now, I think.
Hello.
Well, it wouldn't be on your end because I have headphones on.
Yeah, if you weren't hearing it before, you're not hearing it anymore though?
It would only. No, it sounds like it's gone.
Okay. Get out of here, Echo. See ya. I left with Mary.
It left with Mary.
As we know, now this is safe. Now that Mary's gone, it's safe for kids. She's cool. She got a tattoo recently, right here on her brasso. Is it a bird? Is it a bird? A butterfly? Something with bees? If you were to guess, do you know what the most requested tattoo is?
Mom. Butterflies.
Nailed it. Number one is butterflies. A lot of people like butterflies. How many? Don't you have a couple butterflies?
Nope. No
Don't you have a
butterflies.
couple right down your tuchus?
No butterflies on my butt.
How many do you have? 5? 4?
A handful. Yeah.
I was having a conversation with my cousin a few weeks ago, and she has I think she has 12 or 13 tattoos, right? And we were having a conversation. I said, I struggle. I want a tattoo, but then I'm like, am I really a tattoo guy? And then there's a conversation of is there something that means that much to me that I want to tattoo it on my body and have it forever? And then I'm also but also just does your tattoo have to have some deep meaning, or can it be that looks cool, I just want to get a tattoo?
Yeah.
And my cousin's that's the route I went. She goes, every one of her tattoos, she's just I just kind of thought that was cool and went for it. So on her forearm, she has coordinates, 2 different coordinates on her tattoo. And one of them is just her favorite bar in Houston. That's all it is, right? She goes, I decided to get a tattoo, and that's what I got. And that's why I got it. And it's now there as long as I want it to be there. And
that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And I kind of like her, it doesn't, because sometimes when people get tattoos and they go down this 10-minute explanation of I got this tattoo because it reminded me of this, and then this one thing happened in my life and it brought this thing, and I was okay, it's a very nice tattoo, beautiful artwork. And so it's everyone has you have this deep, so I don't feel like I have this story that I want to tell via artwork. I think I'm more that looks cool, but then on me I feel I don't think I'm a tattoo guy. And I so I don't know, and I don't know I don't know if I could define what a tattoo guy is. It's someone that when you're I think you put a tattoo on them and that person was really cool and now they're extra cool. That's a tattoo guy. That's you. I think you're a pretty cool dude and you already had some tattoos and you got the anchor tattoo, and I'm that looks really cool on a dude that's already really cool. And I feel if I got a tattoo, so I'd be someone would be oh, it's when Fee's hair was kind of naturally growing into a mullet, where hair grew, and someone's oh, that's an interesting haircut. Not saying anything good, not saying anything bad. It's just kind of this there's this nothingness to that comment, but I think there is something behind it that they don't really want to say. And I feel that's the tattoo person I am. Is people are oh, you got a tattoo?
That's an interesting roadrunner on your neck,
right? My favorite, this friend of mine wanted to get a tattoo of a kangaroo with boxing gloves, and he was going to put it right on the inside of his thigh. Okay. So it looked like he had a speed bag.
Yeah.
I was that's a clever, that's clever. I get it. That's clever. But you really have to you're going to be hey, you guys want to see my tattoo? Oh, hold on. Let me adjust.
That's a commitment. I mean, that seems like a very sensitive area of the body as well. You got somebody hanging out down there. I mean, that asks or opens the door for the question of the job of a tattoo artist. They must spend a lot of time in very interesting places of people's bodies.
Yeah, right.
I mean, obviously, sometimes there's just the boring shoulder, back,
right.
But inner thigh, under the boob,
right.
like all kinds of.
Like you think they're like tattooing? They're like, hey, can you hold that up?
Yeah,
Can you hold that up there.
Give me a little bit of an assist
right?
here, dude. Yeah,
right. Yeah, there's tattoos in places where I'm like, at some point, someone had to sit there and do like this, right? Like spread things apart or move stuff out of the way.
Oh, well, on my leg, the guy's son was the skin spreader, but that was the one that he tapped out. So, like the assistant would hold the skin tight when the would actually like tap. So
every time,
maybe that's the there are roles in the industry for an assistant to hold the extra flesh up and out of the way.
I mean, I think to become a tattoo artist, you do have to like have an apprenticeship in a part, like that's part of like the training. So maybe that's part of your apprenticeship is.
Oh, you don't go to a weekend course and then open up your tattoo parlor.
You do. I think to be a level 1 tattoo artist.
Yeah. Deeper. The needle's got to go deeper. Drive your knees out so I can get in there.
Every time I watch Moana, there's a scene where the guy's getting that tattoo that you have on the leg, and the guy's sitting there like, and you just see like little pics. Every time I see that, though, I picture you. Probably.
It hurt like fuck.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
You have it on your. That's one on your thigh.
The outside of my leg. Yeah, when you would hit like right on that IT band spot.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, people cry. You put a foam roller on there. Imagine little just hammer and needle.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Good stuff, man.
It's part of the process. I mean, that's right. Don't make it about meaning. Just enjoy the process.
Yeah, like that's some of these tattoos. People sit for hours and hours, and that's the thing too. I don't know if I bet a lot of people say that. I don't know if I could sit that long, right? But like, they do.
Yeah, we're Americans, man. Our names don't mean shit.
Like once you're in it, right?
Yeah.
So, well, enough of that. I want to play. I created a game. I don't know. This might be the start of something new, like just random segments, like on talk shows where they have like random segments where it's like, remember back in the day, Conan would have staring contests.
No, Jimmy Fallon, Box of Lies, and
Box of Lies. Oh, you know what? We'll definitely do a what is it? What's the one where he does? It's like karaoke, but it's like Russian roulette, but karaoke. So he just maybe not Russian roulette, but he just
you gotta like sing in the version of somebody else.
Yeah, who was it? Ariana Grande. I watched her do it. She's phenomenal. She was
she could do Britney Spears.
Britney Spears and Shakira and Lady Gaga.
Who did God, who's the blonde at the same time as Britney Spears?
Christina Aguilera.
Yeah, she did. Yeah. Ariana Grande doing Christina Aguilera was like really impressive. I mean, it was. She sounded like Christina Aguilera, but it's like you have to be really good to sound like Christina Aguilera because she's really good. Yeah. So it was like, I was like, Ariana Grande could sing.
Yeah, man.
Obviously, she's right. She's ridiculously successful recording artist and actress and whatever. But yeah, agreed. That's a fun segment.
There's she was on I think they did this with Bruno Mars once too. She was on SNL once where they did this segment where they were working at like Pandora Radio, and something happened that like, oh my god. Like the system's broken down. Quick, we need someone to sing this. So and so is requesting Michael Jackson. Quick, sing Michael Jackson. They like sing Thriller, and I think it was like Bruno Mars, and it was like Bruno Mars was just like a tech at the place. He goes, I think I could sing. And so like, quick, do Thriller, and he does Thriller, and then they're like, do Beat It, and it's almost like they do like a medley. And so they did it with him. They do it. It was a really cool sketch. It was very similar to that, where they like, oh, look at the range and like who they can sound like. So it's a fun sketch. So yeah, if you check those out. But I remember Ariana Grande. I remember seeing her and was like, oh my gosh, you're like laughing because it's like it's so spot on, but also that sounded so good.
Yeah.
So but this game's a little different. This game is called. You ready? You ready? I feel like. Name that head.
Name that head.
Oh man, I want to do that one. There we go. That's fun. Cool. I was trying to think of a good name. I feel like Name That Head is pretty spot on. It's a little ridiculous, but spot on at the same point. But yeah, so what I have done here is I took a bunch of 9 to be exact CrossFit Games athletes, and I've cropped out everything but their forehead.
Oh, all right.
And so what I
Austin Malleolo.
So I'm going to ask you to see if you can guess who these athletes are. So that's the game we're playing today. Do you feel good about this?
I'm in.
Cool. Awesome.
This would have been a great opportunity to have somebody dial in and play as well, because it's always more fun when it's a competition.
That is true. I'll remember that for the next one.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to think of different variations where we have the segment today's.
I mean, you have Mary there in the office.
She's already left. She had enough of us. She went to the bakery. She's like, I have work to do, and you're distracting. I didn't ask you to stay here. So, I wonder if I'm saying she's like, hey, Mary, you want to be? I haven't asked her to be a guest. She's just always here.
I'm gonna hang out and do some work.
Hey,
if you happen to start the podcast, I'll be doing work off camera.
So yeah. So, but anyway, enough about Mary. Let's name that head.
I love that the question marks are in like the brain. Like
it's in the head. Yeah. All right. So I made like a collage. So they're all together. So we'll go.
It's not like one at a time.
Yeah, like I was like that would have taken significantly longer. So I'm like, all right, well, let's just do it this way, and we'll start top to bottom. So we'll pop this up. There we go. So we're gonna start top left.
I know who number 1 is. That's easy.
Now I feel like this one too. I feel like the eyes give it away. Like I tried to
100%. Well, it's her hair too. That hair is pretty. A couple of them. Yeah. So start top left.
Top left.
I'm gonna go ahead and guess it's the champ, Laura Horvath.
You nailed it. That is Laura Horvath. Did I spell that right?
Horvath.
Yeah. You think like if I took the eyes out though?
I think it would still be pretty obvious. Her hairline is very distinct. You know, and it like that little widow's peak.
True, yeah.
I think more so than many. But yeah, the eyes definitely like give it away.
Yeah.
So.
I wouldn't let me crop anymore, so I'm like, all right, this is noted. All right, let's go.
I mean, I think I've got all of these except for the old guy in the middle. I'm not sure who that is.
Right here in the middle?
The top.
So the
middle.
next one over?
Yeah. So maybe we skip that one. I'll come back to it.
Okay.
I'll go like down the middle here. So middle left.
Yep.
Jeffrey Adler, the other champ to champ.
Again, another one. I feel like if I could take his eyes out.
Yeah, though again, his hair is pretty, like, he's got that like kind of whatever. His hair is, I think, distinct. And then I'm not sure who that bottom left is. I mean, that's a
this one. I knew this one was going to be a struggle. I thought it was like, all right, I don't want to give you the curveball too early in the game.
Yeah, Mr. Huya, Chandler Smith. Then we got going back up to the top row. We'll still skip the old guy in the middle because I really don't know who that is. I don't know many of the Masters athletes. I didn't really pay attention to them much. Though I'm trying to think who won it. But anyway, everybody's love to hate him, hate to love him. Noah, Mr. Noah Olson.
Mr. Olson. Here we go. Olson, yep. I tried to find the one where he had the little, like, remember he had like he was trying to do like the man bun thing and he had the little nub.
Yeah.
I was trying to find something like that, but I couldn't find like a clearer one in a short amount of time. But yeah, Noah. And
then we got Tia in the middle.
Yeah,
Tia for the center square.
Even with that blurry, I was like, that's blurry, but I'm like, it's such her hair, it's just got that curly hair. It's pretty.
Yeah. Everybody knows Iceland Annie's strawberry blonde.
Yep.
And then we got Sarah Sigmunda's daughter in the middle
Her
bottom.
eyebrows too.
Yeah, same.
Like not just like the
tricks
brown
don't
eyebrows,
match.
but also that like she looks angry and like intense.
And then I'm gonna say that's Brooke Wells, not her sister, Sydney.
Are you sure? Well,
Yeah,
now that I told you.
pretty sure that's Brooke, even though you've put it up.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, it is Brooke.
Is that like, I don't, Ortiz, David Ortiz, not David Ortiz, something like that. Like I feel like it's that, or I don't know. I don't know who that is.
So it is a Masters athlete, but they were I mean they were an OG. You know, they were a name that was I felt like synonymous with CrossFit for a while. Especially in the early stages. There's like certain things I can do to like give it away, but hold on. I don't want to give it away. Let me find hang on one second.
He's got a dumbbell.
I'll say this. He also has a relatively popular podcast in the CrossFit space. I think it's popular. I will say that I have not listened to it in a while, but it's him.
Waiting for me to guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'll just keep. Come on, I'm not gonna let you quit.
Samuel Adams. Oh, it's Spieler.
Wow, so that picture.
He looks way older. That's from regionals. That was the 70s where he got a lot of no reps and was really pissed off.
Yeah. That almost doesn't. That picture too almost doesn't look like him.
Like his hair looked a lot grayer in the picture.
Yeah, zooming in, but yeah, that's when I was like, that's one of the bald head. I was like, he might, like the picture doesn't. I was also trying to steer clear of pictures that like there's a lot of like iconic pictures that I feel like you see of these athletes all the time.
Yeah,
like, you could pick out the background enough, you'd be like, oh, I know that picture.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
The cool. Spiel.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny that you put Noah Olson and Spieler together there
because they're best buds.
Yeah, because Olson's first year at the games when he rubbed Spieler's head for good luck.
Yeah. Who does that to someone they don't know?
Yeah. Mr. Spieler did not like that very much.
No, he did not. So, well, cool. Well, that was a fun little segment of.
Nice. So 8 out of 9. Not bad.
I say, yeah, I feel good about that. Something I threw together within like 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, cool. I can have some fun with this and good. Next time we'll do name that butt.
Well, that would be Stacy Tovar.
Matt Fraser. And then one day we'll do like name those knees.
Yeah. And what's her face? Actually, those would be really funny.
Like this, I feel like you can do a lot with these. Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, they're extremely tight clothing that often isn't covering much of their bodies. So,
yeah,
I think a lot of you went the safe route of picking the old cabeza,
right? Like I feel
rather than the old caboose to start. So.
Yeah, we'll do name the knees. Maybe we'll do like name those abs. Carrie Pierce.
Carrie Pierce. Tia and
who was it? Was it phrase that was like if you're showing up to the games with abs, was it him that it was something? It was I think it was one of those documentaries they made where like if you're showing up at the games and your abs are like popping, you're probably gonna bonk early. Like you're probably not fueled enough, or maybe you're dehydrated. I forget what it was. Someone said that though. Like if you're like, because the conversation too, like Fraser doesn't look like he'd be the fittest man on earth, right? Like if you threw it out there to like outside of the CrossFit sphere, like the fittest person in the world, you wouldn't look at Matt Fraser and think that because he's not like completely cut. But I was like, dude, you still have abs though. Like you still have a physique. So, but some people are just, it's also genetics. You can also say that too. Anyway, but yeah, I'd rather go toward like the name those knees or whose shoes are those or, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Or I'll like take a picture of here's a picture of the crowd. Who are they cheering on in this picture?
That might be a bit tougher.
That's gonna be a longer episode. So if you have suggestions, please leave them in the comments. So anyway, that's where we're going. Boom. That was good.
That's fun.
Yeah. I like little games. I fun with games. So too, there's this a couple accounts I follow, but they'll do like, there's like a pro wrestling podcast. And they're like, they'll play games like name this pro wrestler by their real name. And it's hard because like they rarely ever use their real names. Even people that use real names don't use their real names. Like Hunter Hearst Helmsley's real name is Paul Levesque. So it's like it can be so like Hulk Hogan's real name is Terry Bollea. And John Cena's real name though is actually John Cena.
Did he have to sell that to?
So WWE does have like rights to his name. So like anything that basically uses John Cena's name for profit, WWE gets a cut. And he was asked about it once. He was like, "How do you feel about them basically having the rights to your name?" And he was like, "People wouldn't know who John Cena was if it wasn't for WWE." He's like, it was that platform that let him help him become who he is today. So he's like, yeah, they can have a piece of it because if it wasn't for them, no one would want it. And so I was like, that's an interesting way of looking at it. Plus, it's like, when you make millions and millions of dollars off of movies and promotions and sponsors, it's like, yeah, I don't mind throwing a few bucks here and there. I think I'm doing okay. Anyway, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Well, that's the show for today.
All right. There you go.
So,
keep it short.
Yeah, man. Short and sweet. That's the way I like it. What have you been up to? What in the CrossFit? I haven't paid that much attention to anything. Any information that you've gone deep into that I should be privy to? You think fun and exciting?
What are you asking for?
I don't know. I haven't paid that close attention. It's funny. I have been letting people know that in the world of fantasy football, I am currently 1-0 and sitting in first place with the most points in the league. So I'm very excited about that. Yeah, I was thinking is like, what can we talk about? Well, football's back, but that's all there is to it. Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles. If you watch the video,
that was money well spent by the Jets.
When that happened, like I saw he got sacked and he stood up and he immediately he sat there for a second and then he just sat down on the ground. He just sat down and you could tell he kind of had this shit. He knew something was wrong. And when you watch the replay and they were showing in slow-mo, you see his ankle roll and you see his foot start to come down and then just as quick you see the moment where his Achilles just goes it's a quick little it's real quick. Yeah. And but man, I sat there and thought to myself God, I feel in this moment I really feel bad for Jets fans. They were certain this was the year. All they needed was a quarterback.
Yeah.
Got someone like Aaron Rodgers who's this dude wins. This is all we needed. And 4 plays in, man. And he's at the point, I think he's 38. He's done it all in his career. The question is would he come back because he feel like he has something to prove or
has he ever won a Super Bowl?
Has he won 2? I can't remember. He's won at least one. He beat the Steelers
at Green Bay when he was with Green Bay.
Yeah. He's been with Green Bay his whole career.
Okay.
He was drafted to be the heir apparent to Brett Favre. And after 3 years, Brett Favre was going to retire. And then he's yeah, you know what? I don't think I am going to retire. And
didn't he go somewhere and play another season?
He went to the Jets first. He went to the Jets first season.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. And then
so basically the Jets get Green Bay's hand-me-downs.
Right.
Here's this old T-shirt. It'll still fit you.
And
Mom, I don't want to wear Stanley's underwear. It has brown spots. Shut up. It's fine. Still has
Yeah.
elastic in the band. It'll be okay.
Just turn it inside out. Get another
Yeah.
go out of it. Yellow on the front, brown on the back.
Those are just rust marks from the dryer.
But yeah, no, he was Brett Favre went to the Jets first season and then was with the Vikings, and Packers fans were like, wait a second, you can go anywhere in the world, but you went to like our rival, and actually was like had a really good season. I think it almost was like one game away from the Super Bowl with them.
The Jets are Green Bay's rival?
No, the Vikings. So he went to Brett Favre was with the Jets for one season.
Then he went to the
That
Vikings.
season was a train wreck, and then he went to the Vikings.
That's right.
The reason I think Aaron Rodgers wanted to go to the Jets is because their offensive coordinator was his offensive coordinator in Green Bay for a long time. So he wanted the Jets had a good defense and some young talent. They also had an offensive coordinator that he had a relationship with. So that's all that was. But I just saw that and I was like, oh man, I felt bad. I felt bad for a lot of people in that moment, but also like, I feel bad for the guy still making millions of dollars, but it must be. It's gotta be hard. Like if that's the end of his career, that's a bummer. That's a bummer. So, but yeah, football's back. Washington's 1-0. My fantasy team's 1-0, and yeah, that's all. We celebrated our 8-year anniversary yesterday. Megan and I did. So there's news. We've gone 8 years. So far, so good. Ups and downs. That's fun news.
You're almost averaging a kid every 2 years.
Yeah, we're good. That number, yeah, we're good.
No kid this year. It's a year. You're gonna take a break this
good.
year.
Yeah, I think it's funny. We've had that conversation. It's it's like we're not closing the door completely, right? Like we're not taking those extra steps to like, but we're also like we're good with 3 though. We're good with 3. I could even tell you, I was content with 2, but like on board with a 3rd. I'm good with 3. We're good there. We're good there, man. I feel like you had 3 kids and turned out pretty good. You still look good and young and youthful and have some. I feel like 3 is a good number.
Yeah, the twins helped. You get 2 for.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Megan did not have twins, and I will hold that against her forever now.
Well, it skips a generation.
I think it's well, I see. I've heard identical twins are. I've heard identical twins are totally by chance. But it's like by chance on like your mother's. I don't know. Who knows? There's no identical.
I just make stuff up.
Yes. Don't let the truth get. I think it was the workout the other day. The workout for 9/11. They had the 2001 meter run.
Yeah.
And I sent people out. I was like, you can go do a 2,000 meter run if you want to run the. Do the mile route and do a 400 if you want to run 5 400s. And if you want that extra 1 meter, just do a quick hop across one of the mats. There's your extra meter. I did not go out and measure 2,001 meters, but I'm not going to let the truth get in the way of a good story. Just run one of those mats. You did your 2001.
There you go.
Yeah. That was a fun workout though. That was a cool one. Did you do that one?
I did. It was kind of miserable.
Yeah.
Those barbells kicked my butt. I did a row on both ends.
Yeah.
I just didn't feel like running, but yeah, I couldn't get moving on the barbell.
It's funny how all those. I mean, that was the 9 foundational movements for the most part, right in there too, right? Because you had strict press,
push jerk. Yeah, it was. Look at that.
It was basically a back squat instead of an air squat, essentially, and it was a clean instead of a med ball clean.
Yeah.
You had the 9 foundational movements all squeezed right in there.
That's kind of cool. I didn't pay attention to that. I didn't pick up on that. That's
and the way they kind of progressed each other was cool.
Yeah.
But that was a fun one. I like the way they put that one together. And the barbell was the barbell seemed like just the right amount. Like,
did that come from Cap?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that was fun. That's fun. Yeah, the barbell, you do it right. Like it's just enough to. I think people looked at it too, saw it with like a little bit lighter weight and kind of underestimated how much those move. Like 9 reps is a good amount. I mean, at the end of it all, you're doing 99 total reps.
It's 11.
Yeah. But what did I say? Did I say 9? Yeah.
9 movements, 11 reps. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that barbell caught up to you a little bit faster than you expected it to.
Yeah.
And anyone that went out, I think most people, when they went out for their second run, a bunch of people were like, that first 400, they're like, my legs wouldn't work. Like I did this. I mean, Huey went out, he was moving, and he said he went out in that first 400. He thought to himself, I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish this run. His legs were done. So it was cool. That was a good 9/11 watt. I might mark that as like a, if it's not a CrossFit benchmark, I like that as almost like an annual workout, because like I said, the movements it's the foundational movements mixed in a run. It's a good little benchmark. Everyone, nothing too heavy. Just keep moving. Yeah. That's fun. That's good. And then deadlifts today. Deadlifts were a lot of fun. I love heavy deadlift days. I just like I said, I like partnering people up. I like seeing, like, Shelly deadlifted 200 pounds for 3 today.
It's good.
And I don't think she does that if she's doing it by herself. She's got a bar by herself. I think because she said we did this back in June. I think she did 165 for 3. And I bet she would have gone like 175. She wouldn't have sniffed 2. So I think there's something to be said about that, which we could dive into at any point, at any workout. But it's definitely like, it's that whole having, like you're, I don't know, even if you're like sharing a bar with someone, like I could be sharing a bar with, I don't know, I could have been sharing a bar with Shelly, but like having that person like on a bar with you, it doesn't matter the weight that they're doing and you're doing. Like, I think it's just that person almost like pushing you and almost like holding you accountable. Like, they're going to nudge and be like, that looked really good. You can put a little bit more on that bar. You'll be good. And whereas if you're by yourself, you're like, that felt kind of heavy. I think I'm good.
Yeah.
It's fun watching people kind of go to that place and especially on heavy days. Like, I love to remind people, like, it's okay that it feels heavy. It's supposed to. Like, that first set is supposed to feel heavy. And that last set is supposed to feel heavy. So I love when like people get halfway through, they're like, it's starting to feel kind of heavy. Well, it should have started feeling heavy 3 sets ago. That's why it's a heavy day. Like, you're supposed to. That's the point.
Were they building across?
So I gave people the choice. So depending on how they did it last time. So I'd say if you start around 80 to 85%. So 6 sets of 3. Start around 80, 85%. If you're going to build, start around there. If you're going to stay, pick a weight around 85% of your max, or something that's just, it feels heavy from the first set, but you can do it. Those later sets, it's still going to feel heavy, even if you're not building, if you chose the right weight. But that first set, I always tell, is like, you want that first set to feel heavy, because that's the point, right? So,
has CAT been successful for you guys? When did you switch over? How long?
Was it June? It's been 3 months. So I think it's been, I mean, people, for example, people did this workout back in June, and a bunch of people lifted more than they did back in June. And it's not like we've been deadlifting every week, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. So I'd say from that point where it's like, the people that show up and get the work done are seeing the results. And I think making that transition from Mayhem, where Mayhem, it felt like a lot of volume, and it felt like trying to squeeze a lot of stuff in. I'm hearing less about people having some of the aches and pains from throughout the week. And so, but the workouts are still kicking their butts, right? Like, it's not like they're walking out of here like, whew, I feel refreshed now. Like, no, they're putting it out there. And these last couple of months have been cool too, because last month the focus was barbell cycling. And so, sometimes some of the pre-workout skill stuff was working on barbell cycling. A lot of the WODs had workouts where you focused on how to cycle the bar. And it was good because even on some of these heavy days, it was still, you're cycling 5 reps, 6 reps, something like that. So they're heavy, but you got to be able to touch and go, and you got to be able to move that barbell with purpose. You can't just let it rip you around. And I think people found too that you don't have to go heavy for it to feel heavy. And then this month, so taking that barbell cycling this month, the focus is more, September. August was barbell cycling. September was, September, I think, was the more, I want to say it was the more like, what month are we in? It went barbell cycling. It went like medium, more like a medium range focus. Like, so more like the Metcons were more like, they're not sprints, they're not long. So trying to find that like pacing where you can push but not fall off too much. This month, it's the short, fast, Metcons where it's
Intense.
like you're going to see like, all right, you're going to start fast, and the middle you're going to go fast, and the end you're going to go fast. You're going to put your foot on the gas and just see how long you can keep on without bonking. And so it's been cool seeing how those, like especially last month being the more medium range. Now we're going into the fast, like seeing how you have to approach those workouts totally differently from the get-go, and how now it's like, hey, this workout now, start fast. Like you might bonk, but that's okay. Let's go for it and see what happens. And which I think sometimes uncomfortable for people. They want to like, well, I don't want to bonk too early.
Yeah.
But that's sometimes that's the test, right? Like see how hard can you go while still moving well, of course. That's the intensity, right? Like the intensity piece, but also knowing that like you don't have to do it every day, like doing the intensity piece, that hardcore every day. But anyway, in short, yeah, I would say I think CAP is working, that people are seeing results. People are seeing results with what feels like less volume, in short, if that makes sense. Because I feel like they said, like we talked about this, like Mayhem puts a lot in there.
Yeah.
Put a lot in their programming, and trying to run it from a class perspective and trying to coach, like trying to be a coach is a challenge. And this definitely like the focus today is the Metcon. We might have a little bit of, and I always like this too. Like you may have a pre-workout lift, but the focus is the skill of that lift. And that, like, I'm not necessarily looking for you to hit a 5-rep max back squat today. But I am looking for you to move this well, move it heavy. And it's really kind of there too, to prime the engine. You don't need to max out to get stronger. This volume alone in time doing it well will get you stronger. And I think people are seeing that you don't have to max out all the time, every week, several times a week to get stronger.
Have you seen any changes in CAP with the guest programming on the main site?
I haven't noticed it. No, I think they're keeping it. It feels that I haven't seen them. They haven't said anything about it either. It seems like it's keeping it separate because it is like the hand plan guys doing the CAP writing. I think Castro's doing the main site.
No, it's Bosman these next 2 weeks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter whoever the guest writer is, but yeah, I think they're right now. It seems like they're sticking with their ham group because those are the guys. Yeah. So right now, I haven't seen anything that they're going to try to like mesh the two. Which I think a lot of people they didn't like that. I think we talked about this before. They didn't like that. They were paying for CAP, but it was the same workouts that were showing up for free online.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked, but like you said, when you pay for CAP, you're paying for so much more than just the workout. You know, we talked about that, like all the resources that you get as a coach, as an affiliate, running a class that you get when you're paying for CAP. But yeah, you get the workout online, but that's all you really get. I liked that consistency.
Do they still have different tracks, like a weightlifting track and a at-home track or anything like that?
So they have the at-home track, the way they do it now. So you have your WOD. They have the at-home. So here's the suggestion: if you're minimal equipment at home, and here's like a general warm-up, and then here's the piece. And then instead of a separate weightlifting track, they have. Do you remember they had the work your weaknesses? Mm-hmm. So like work your weakness 1 is this barbell cycling. Work your weakness 2 is some additional strength. Work your weakness 3 is gymnastic skills. So they have those in there, but they don't have the separate weightlifting track anymore.
Okay.
Which I think makes sense, right? For CrossFit, again, keeping the main thing.
Yeah.
Right. Having a separate weightlifting track was a good resource for me, like running weightlifting classes and stuff. But I like this stuff as I like it as just here's a couple extra things that if you have a weakness in this area, here's something that you can do to help. Like maybe you just use it to supplement another day. Maybe it's your accessory work for an additional day. We tie those in, but I use that for the weightlifting class on Sunday. I just look at that, and what I like is it builds on the week. So there was a Sunday that it was an EMOM where they built to a heavy set of 2 push jerk out of the rack. So a heavy set of 2 push jerk, but it was a quick, like, I want to say it was like 10 sets, but they had like maybe 90 seconds between sets, if that. So it was, get to a heavy 2, but also like your heart rate's up. Like these are quick sets. There's a lot fast turnaround. Later that week was Grace. And after Grace was you had 6 minutes to build to a heavy clean and jerk. And so I like that. Like I liked that like supplemental, like a lot of people, they can clean the weight, but they can't get to the jerk. And so it was a way of like, okay, they just did Grace. They're winded. They're tired. That work on Sunday that we did had them get under probably heavier than they're going to clean and jerk when we do Grace in a few days. But they've got that. It's still fresh there, right? Like they spent time under a heavy bar. They spent time trying to hit a jerk when they're breathing heavy, when things feel like they're starting to fall apart. And so it's a good way of like, I feel like it built on what they were doing Tuesday without overdoing it over the course of a week.
Yeah.
So I like them having that separate, like, hey, work your weakness. It's basically accessory work or supplemental work. It's not just additional work for the sake of additional work. Like the weightlifting track alone was like, you either do the weightlifting track or you're doing CrossFit that day. I wouldn't necessarily tie in both unless you're doing, I think they still have the competitive track or the compete track.
How'd the double under thing go?
That was cool. Good turnout. It was good seeing it was cool seeing stuff that they said. Like they had some good cues, but there was stuff that they said that, like, as a coach, you've said before. But I think being in that very like, all right, for 20 minutes, this is all you guys are thinking about. Here are these people saying it to you that, like, they're experts in the field of the jump rope, right? And it's not the same voice that they always hear. So something they said or the way they said it or the context, the way they said it clicked with people.
Mm-hmm.
That like, it's totally that moment where, like, I know I've said to that person before, but like maybe it was the setting, maybe it was because this was meant to be like, hey, we're focused on the jump rope for 2 minutes. It clicked and you saw it. Like I loved seeing Ed's double unders. Like Ed tends to, when he jumps, he tends to pull his knees up a little bit, not a pike, but almost like he's like lifting his feet a little bit. So he can string together 20, 30, 40 double unders. But it's almost like he's taxing his midline a lot by almost kind of doing that like little crunch and seeing that just after that 20 minutes, his jump was so much better. Like he's still pulling his feet up a little bit, but not nearly as much. And you could see it. And like, you could see he was stringing them together and he wasn't as gassed as he was. And it didn't beat him up as much. Joan, same thing. She wasn't, I feel like Joan tend to donkey kick or she tend to pull her legs up. I forget what she tends to do, but her jump was so much more efficient. And it was just like that focus of like hey, for 20 minutes, you're not worrying about the other part of this EMOM. You're just going to think about the jump rope. It's a very, so it was cool seeing a bunch of people and people really enjoyed it. A bunch of people bought some new jump ropes. Their handles are big too. They're big. Like, I'd say they're almost twice as big as the RX ones. Which
thick, long, what's big mean?
So thicker and longer. I told Joan said something about having to get used to it. I was like, yeah, these definitely have more girth than the RX jump rope. And Joan was on board with more girth.
Sure, that was a 5-minute derailment.
But she said, she had stuff going on with her wrist. She said, the way that rope is, you hold it low enough, the rope can kind of do some of the work for you if you get the right spin going. And actually, she found it was better for her wrist. She didn't have to try to get that flick of the wrist quite as much, which she felt better with. So at the end of the day, it was a lot of fun. They had a lot of fun. They were telling me, too, that after our podcast, and I shared some of the stuff on Instagram, 3 more gyms in the area.
Nice.
They signed up 3 more gyms. So they're in the area for the next week, hitting some other gyms that
did you get a chance to talk to him? Like, how many ropes does he have to sell to like make it worth it?
No, I kind of wanted to ask, but I wasn't sure if that was appropriate to ask. Like, so how much money do you make, right? Like,
I mean, just from like a business model standpoint, like how do they cover expenses? And I don't need to know. I don't need to see your P&L, but just like, you know what I mean? I remember asking the Innovate guys when they came that first time. I was like, how many shoes do you need to sell? And he's like, I don't need to sell a single pair of shoes. This is all my marketing cost. Right. So it's all, that's when the guy was like, yeah, was it Innovate? Yeah, it was Innovate, right? When they came that first time. And then I forget who the second shoe provider, when we got that other, anyway, yeah, it was
Yeah.
It was an interesting perspective, and the guy didn't have to go into details on the economics, which that's not all you're asking. I mean,
Sure.
just curious how you make this work, because I mean that's a big RV, and y'all got to eat, and gas costs money, right?
Yeah,
Food costs money.
what they say they're on the road like 200 days out of the year, or something like that.
Yeah, so
But he said they live out of their RV. They said they actually just recently I think they're buying a house, or they just approved for a house. But I think they've been living out of their RV too. So like I think the overhead's low.
there you go.
And yeah, they said they've been doing this for 9 years. They're on the road about 200 days out of the year. And then, but I think also too, sometimes they hit they hit some of these events. So they'll be in a big event, they'll set up shop, and sometimes like, yeah, I think these are like the marketing, and then they hit these big events. But they sell, I mean, their website, they sell a bunch of other stuff too. They sell tape and chalk and wrist straps and heavy ropes. They were telling me about some of their heavy ropes that it's great. So if people couldn't jump, they're these, I forget how much they weigh, but they're these heavy ropes that are split into two. So if somebody can't jump, they have them sit on the bench. So they have them sitting on the bench, and they had their feet kind of like pulled in and their heels lifted off the ground. So like the hamstrings still turn on there and the calves are still turned on there. They sit and they have this heavy rope that they're basically still moving. And it's so they still have like the muscles of the legs activated. They're still working the shoulders. And Mary was saying too, she was doing, her forearms are on fire from pulling those heavy ropes. They sell stuff, like they sell stuff to gym. They said that it's gyms, they'll do stuff. They'll sell some stuff retail and like wholesale. They did give me a nice block of chalk and said, hey, we sell our blocks of chalk for like $3, but so if you need gym chalk, I'm like, yeah, but I can get like 8 blocks of chalk for like $13, but this is nice. I was like, I'm not going to use
chalk. What makes their chalk special?
I'm curious. Like I want to put the block,
just calcium carbonate, right? It's just
like, yeah.
whatever the it's the same. Yeah. It's all the same molecules.
So like, yeah, I like supporting small business, but also like, yeah, I'll find other ways. Like, maybe at some point, like I'll buy some of their wraps, and then like, have there people want to buy wrist wraps, and they have the gymnastics grips, and they have, their ropes are nice. So you get one of their ropes, they custom size them, and you can mix and match the handle colors. They give you a nice little bag for them, and I know they sold a good amount of ropes while they're here. Definitely, people bought ropes from every class, so
that's cool.
I'm curious. Like they have these big spools of the wire for the rope. It's like, I wonder how much one of those spools, like how many ropes do they have to sell to make that spool worth it, right?
Yeah.
Like, so maybe it's like, yeah, we need to sell 10 ropes and we've just paid for that spool. So who knows? But it was a fun event. People got good stuff out of it. They were really nice people. I'm excited that other gyms were
that's good.
intrigued by it. I was glad to hear that. Again, if you're listening to this and you were there, leave in the comments. What was your experience? But I thought it was fun. I liked it. Again, it was low stakes. Like all I had to do was open the doors for them. They were here. They were great.
That's cool. That's a good model. That's smart of them to make it as low barrier of entry as possible for you as the affiliate.
Yeah, because we've done, we did stuff in the past too. Like, remember when you ran your open mini camps, right? Or when I ran like the summer solstice that year, or like even a couple times. I think there was one year he did like a 3-week like gymnastics. Was it 3 weeks? But like it was a gymnastics session. Mm-hmm. And those are fun to run, and you can, as a trainer, you can make a little money off of them, as like a specialty course, but also like I like having those things because I also provide an additional service to the members, but also like as the owner, I don't have a lot of extra time and energy in me to do extra things like that. So it's cool, like someone like that, we're like, yeah, well, all you got to do is block out 20 minutes for us in your class and just open the doors for us. And I was like, that's a no-brainer. Like, it's a lot of value for the athletes and very minimal work on my end. And so it just felt like a big win for everyone in that.
Well, how do you define that value?
For me?
Yeah.
Like how value for that.
What I mean? Like, is it transparent? Is there a shared understanding of what that value is. You know what I mean? Like those specialty courses, the idea being gymnastics is the third level, nutrition, cardiovascular, respiratory, gymnastics. So it's the third level on the pyramid. Weightlifting, it's the fourth one. So, you know, weightlifting and throwing. So that, right, like that's a relatively easy narrative to display to people how those 3 weeks of effort would facilitate long-term improvement in their ability to move well and improve their fitness.
Right.
So that's what, like, so if I've defined that as the owner or sort of as the head coach or, you know, whatever role, it makes it easier maybe, or more better clarified for a trainer that maybe doesn't have the motivation to do something like that. Right. Because money is only going to motivate somebody so far. Right. But like, it's sort of a, how do I get Joshua and Matthew to want to go to high school? Do you know what I mean? Like, the idea would be that you find something that is of interest to them and show how this thing that maybe is not innately that enjoyable or seemingly that not that enjoyable, how it facilitates them getting to where they want to go. Yeah. And then along that road, maybe the thing becomes enjoyable in of itself. And so the idea, I'm right. The idea would be, okay, it's double unders. They're not that fun really, but they do facilitate quicker, fast twitch muscle, speed and coordination, blah, 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 accuracy, precision, like all that kind of stuff. And then somebody could do them and they're like, oh my God, that was actually kind of fun. You know, so like that narrative, that's sort of, how do you define that value?
So for me, because I'd say we've done both, right? Like we've run the longer sessions at a price with a very focused, and then this was, we'll say free, because it was built in. The value is like, it was only 20 minutes and it was built into the class time. So there wasn't any extra effort. Like people didn't have to come on like a Saturday, right? Or they didn't have to, and it was only 20 minutes and it was very quick, like tips and cues and stuff like that. And it was individualized and personalized. But I think people, so they see that, but they also see, hey, when, you know, I ran Summer Solstice and we spent, 5 weeks with a PVC pipe, like how much work was put into that. And so I think the value I see in there is like, they see the difference. There is value in this little thing where it's like, I got a couple things. I felt better in my jump. I felt like, if I had to, I don't know if I could tell you that there was if I could have like a tangible, concrete, here's the value in this, other than I saw people get better at their jump rope. I saw people buy a jump rope. They saw value in buying it. They saw something click. People were getting double unders that didn't have double unders before. Yeah. So they had that and they walked out of here feeling better about the jump rope when they left. I don't know. I don't know if I'm answering your question.
Well, I mean, I don't have an answer to my question. That's why I asked it.
Yeah, I think I like that, I like that it was almost like it was a perk of being a member. If you're a member at this gym, you get this, hey, we have this kind of special thing going on, and no cost to you guys other than show up to class that day. Now,
do people find it of value?
People told me they found it of value.
There you go.
Told me they did. So, yeah,
that's cool.
I mean, if one person told me they got something out of it that day, cool.
Right, because it was free for you, right? So yeah. I mean, like, well, yeah, all right, done.
Yeah, it's not like it's like, oh, only one person. That cost me $2,000. Like only one person was like, okay, not worth it. Right. So if one person,
that's your Aaron Rodgers moment. You're like,
right. And I think it was cool too. I think it was cool to see for like the coaches too. I think, Mary said there was something that someone said that clicked with her, that they saw that she heard them say or saw them say that she was like, oh, that's like, I'm going to use that cue. Like, like one of my coaches got another tool to put in their tool belt, right? So there's value there. And so, like I said, I think, it was it was a perk of being a member by, you got to be part of this thing without devaluing, hey, we're going to run this 6-week hour-long Saturday morning, $120 gymnastics course for people that really want to get better at gymnastics. I don't think this devalued that.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you. Yeah. By it being quote unquote free, didn't make the other thing that you would have to pay for. Yeah, I see what you mean. That's a good point.
Because that's one thing I like. You definitely.
That's a fear. Yeah, totally. I mean, you don't want to facilitate a race to the bottom.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I think I like their model that I like the model that they run. I think after having Jared Enderton here a couple times for weightlifting after doing it, now he's been here twice now. I think I think he's great. I think he knows what he's talking about. But I think people found more. I feel like people found more value in doing like summer solstice than they did, paying whatever that was. I forget what I charged for that, as opposed to paying the $150, $200 for that weekend session with Jared. And I think also it's that connection you have with the coach. Like, they know me and I know them, and they know what they're working on. Whereas Jared just gets a snapshot of them for a day and gives them a couple things to work on, but he doesn't really know them that well as an athlete. And so I think there's that value too that people see is when you get to spend more time with them, you can really hone in on things because you know them as an athlete. For the most part, you kind of know the journey. I know that Michelle has been working on an immature squat forever, and she's getting a lot better at sitting up. I also know that she's, tweaked her knee a couple times in the last, 6 months, and she's working through that. So this is about as far as she can go. Someone who comes in for a weekend seminar that charges $150, $200, $300 a session doesn't necessarily know that. You can sit there and tell them, but they're going to be able to do that with everybody. So again, I think this is a good thing that like it was free. It was a perk of being a member, but it didn't devalue anything that we decide to do later that we charge extra for or that we ask of people. So
cool.
Yeah.
You got anything else coming up?
Nothing. So with that now, I'm kind of looking at the calendar and I want to see like probably nothing till I'm thinking of something maybe come January, right before the Open. Maybe even something like in November. But now with that, I'm like, oh, what's something else I could throw? Like, what's something else that we could do that people may be interested in? So I almost want to just kind of put it out there and see what's something that people want to work on that would want to, that they want to throw in. I mean, I have my weightlifting class on Sunday. So if people want to get stronger and work on weightlifting, we do that. There's some people want something more specific. So I'm kind of like, after having that too, I almost see that as a model working too, like taking their model alone and throwing something specific in there. So, so my short answer is no, nothing set, nothing concrete, but the gears are moving and the juices are flowing. So I'm trying to think of, if it's like, is there a quarterly thing that we can do with this particular focus that works the pyramid too?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I liked when you did, I loved your open mini camp. I thought I talked to you about it last year. Like, I liked the idea of doing the mini camp again, but I hadn't thought about it. It was like coming right up on it. So if I did it again, at least now it's something I can. So that's kind of my thought, is like going to January, like doing an open mini camp again.
Yeah.
And, but thinking about that far more ahead of time than 2 weeks or whatever it was when I talked to you about it last year. So that's my thought there. But anyway, so again, answer yes, but not totally.
I want to do something. I just don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is, which is which sometimes I think is I was wandering around the house yesterday. I don't know what it was. I kept walking. I was talking to Meg, but I kept walking back and forth from like the kitchen to the living room to the dining room. And she goes, if you're looking for something to do, the bathroom needs to be cleaned. And, and I was like, and but it's funny that she knows me because she could tell I was trying to figure out, like, I knew I needed to do something, but I didn't know what it was that I needed to do, because there's always something, like, it could have been clean the bathroom, it could have been go fold the laundry, it could have been, you know, the I don't know, the kids made a mess and we need to clean up the mess. So she could tell that, like, that's exactly where I was at. I was wandering back and forth from room to room, and she's like, "Hey, here's what you can do." And I went and cleaned the bathroom. I was like, "Thanks, babe. That's why we work well together." But that's where I'm at right now. Is like, I know I could do something. I'm just not sure what that is.
Yeah.
And so someone just needs to come up to me and be like, "Muscle Up Clinic." All right, cool. We'll do that. So
Pamela Gagnon was, I think she was on the Mayhem channel, like a whole hour class.
they have a few of
Teaching
those.
the muscle up or something.
I'm not gonna lie. I've watched some of those. I've watched some of those all the way through and, like, taking notes. I'm like, oh, like, I mean, you could almost, yeah, it's cool. They have a bunch of those, weightlifting and gymnastics. She has one that's like handstand specific focus. I think it was, I don't know if it was like, and I don't know if it was like handstand push up, handstand walk, or if it was just like that overhead upside down position.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a full on video of her running a clinic, and it's like, those are really good resources. So like using one of those is like, hey, cool, that might actually be, there might be something there.
Yeah, have all the coaches watch it, and then
beg, borrow, and steal.
Like a Wednesday, one of the coaches run everybody through it, and then that's what's the Friday special event.
Yeah, so that'd be cool. That would be cool. So many things to think about in so little time. So it's already middle of September, dude.
Yeah,
2023 coming. It feels like this is the time of year now. I feel like everything just flies. Like, once you get September, everything flies. So many Renaissance festivals to go to, and harvest festivals to go to, and then before you know it, it's Friendsgivings and holiday parties and all that good stuff. I'm gonna go into hiding for a little bit. I tell you, we went to Renaissance a couple weeks ago. Did I tell you about that?
Was it a good one?
No.
Oh yeah. Is it ever?
We were leaving, and Meg said to me, "Eric, I want you to remind me of today the next time I want to take all the kids to the Renaissance Festival." I was like, done. Because we're gonna go again, but we're gonna get.
Was it hot? Was it just so hot?
It wasn't too bad. It was hot, but it wasn't. It was manageable. It was the kids, like
those damn kids wanting all their fun.
Axel, like, it's too much stimulation for Axel. He won't fall asleep, even if Meg's like carrying him to carry. He won't fall asleep. We had this wagon thing, but like Everett just did not. Everett doesn't like crowds. He's the opposite of Fee. Like, Fee she sees people and she sees kids and she wants to be out and play. Everett just wants to. He's like, I'm gonna do my thing. Like, I'm good here by myself. So he just, like, he wanted to sit in the wagon, or he just kind of wanted to stay by. He didn't seem like he was totally into it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Fee, every shop you walk by, she's like, "Can we get this? Can we get this? Can we get this? Can we go to this? Can we go to this? Can we go to that?" And it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And it's hard to. And Meg asked me what my favorite part of the day was. I was like, "Remember when we got that beer? Like, it was what was it? It was a snake bite. It was like cider and mead or something like that. I don't know.
Was it good?
Oh yeah.
Oh, what? It was good.
That was delicious. Yeah. It was
okay.
Really good. But I was like, that was the highlight of my day. so we're gonna go again. We're gonna go. Med loves the Renaissance Festival, so I could tell she didn't want. You could tell she wasn't trying to force it. Like, she got to a point where, like, we've been here long enough. Let's call it a day. And I felt bad because she loves Renaissance Festival, but she, in her mind, she's like, yeah, this is the experience that I wanted. She's like, I love my kids, but this isn't it. And so we're gonna go again, but we're gonna leave Fee and Everett with her mom, and we'll try it again with Axel, which should, barring naps, should go better. We'll see. But and me, the festivals, it's fine. I don't love it, but it's fine. And there's some good shows, and
was thinking of you guys as I walked into Sam's this weekend for the weekly grocery shopping. There's like the center section, obviously.
Yep.
I avoid the center section at all costs. Like if I'm going in the center section, it's like, that's why we came. It's not grocery shopping. Or if it's like, I've, described myself to, today is not the day for efficiency. So if it takes us 4 hours, whatever. But anyway, so I'm walking by the center section and they had like double racks, a whole panel of fairy dresses.
Oh God.
And I was going to text you like, best avoid Sam's for the next couple weeks until these these run their course and don't find their way back to the back warehouse.
Yep. It's so true. Like
I could just see you like running in and out of the aisle. Like, no.
I tell you, Fee can sense that they're near too. Like you can walk in the store and she'd be like, sparkly dresses,
fairy dresses, princess dresses,
right? Yeah. Like she knows. He knows, man.
And they're right next, they're probably right next to like the blow up bounce house thing, and like all that. We need this. Yeah.
Everett to the point too. Like he'll see it and he'll want it, and he goes from he'll kind of ask once, and if you don't respond right away, he immediately goes into screeching it.
Whoa!
And so he'll go like he'll ask for a cup of water, and like you may have like. And maybe you didn't even if you acknowledge it, you're like, I'll get you a cup, buddy. And he'll go, I need water. And he like screeches it. I'm like, dude, I'm getting you water. I need you to stop this.
Maybe he's really dehydrated. He
just like has the middle child stuff where he's like, if I don't screech it, I won't be heard. Well, it's like, dude, I'm coming. he has very quiet and then scream. I'm like, oh my God. So, but man, Meg and I totally. There was one that the kids are just sitting there playing, and she laughed and she's like, it's so sweet seeing them all play together, and then she just goes, "What were we thinking?" It's just like this is a great moment right now, but within 5 minutes, someone will be crying, someone will be fighting, someone will be. If there's a drink in the area, someone is bound to spill it. Like
those moments are the sun.
Yeah,
you can't really look right at them. You certainly can't talk about them. Definitely don't acknowledge it. Like the second the two of you sort of like brought it into your shared consciousness, it was already over. We learned that on the beaches of Hawaii.
Yeah.
When things are going well, the first couple times you're like, it's really going well, and then next thing you know, it's just World War III between them. And so it became sort of like we wouldn't make eye contact. We wouldn't make eye contact with them. We would just sort of ride the wave.
Yeah. Right. Just let it go as long as it can.
That's right. Right. And of course, then you're hanging out with like a family member or somebody, and they're like, this is really fun. Don't say anything.
Or like they're sitting there playing. They're like playing with each other, and then like the family member goes over and starts to like they're gonna go talk, and I'm like, no. Don't interrupt. Let them be. For the love of God, let them be.
Go clean the bathroom.
What did Meg? Meg said something the other day about having favorites or something like that. I was like, Fee's my favorite today. She's like, I can't believe you said that. I was like, no, it's for real. Fee's my favorite today.
That's why you get dogs.
I love them all. Yeah.
Say when the kids ask, like, who's your favorite? Violet. Oh.
Yeah.
I think my parents like the dogs better than they like me. It's like, yeah, you're right.
You're probably right. There are plenty of moments where, yes, I do like the dog much better than you.
Even when the dog vomits or shits in the house, I still like it better than I like you.
Yeah.
Which isn't true. That's not a true statement.
Yeah. Life ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
As does my favorites. All right. Well, I think we go and land this plane. This is a good day. I like just hanging out.
Nice.
And and tune back in next week for Another version of there you go. Gratitude.
That's name that head for those who are audio only and not
Oh
getting
yes,
the
name
visual.
that head. Name that head. I before Bob left, I was like, Bob, let me get a picture of your head. He's like, no. No. I was like, let me see if Jack can guess your head, Bob.
Oh, that'd be funny. I'm sure I could have.
Yeah,
I've
like,
stared. I think it the however long, 6 months, 7 months we were on Zoom in those little frames. Somebody was a member. If somebody was a member at that time, I most definitely know their head.
So he's that's either Matt Fraser or Bob Ricker.
Yeah.
Can't we'll lead toward Bob. It's gratitude, brother. What are you feeling?
It's so simple. I started bringing a pair of binoculars to the golf tournament, the golf matches, Matt and Josh's golf match. Game changer. Absolutely love it. I'm so grateful. I actually have a second pair, but I got to find them because I got to get Nicole on board. She walked so much more than me yesterday because she had the camera and was trying to get good shots of the two of them, like, lining up putts and stuff. But especially at Eisenhower, it's kind of open. And so Josh went off first yesterday, then Matt was in the group right behind him. So you can kind of time it. So it'd be times where I'm up on a ridge or something and I'm just standing there and, I'm watching, Josh putt. And then as soon as he finishes, turn and I'm watching Matt tee off. And so with the binoculars, it feels like you're right there. And it was great. It was it was a game changer. It was awesome. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Was it one of those moments where you're like, why didn't I think of this earlier?
Well, I thought of it the first week. I was like, I should have broken out my binoculars and brought them. And then the second week, I didn't bring a bag. And I'm like, I forgot the binoculars. And so then it took me to the third week. And I think this was their fifth or sixth match. So I got it. I got it down. I got it wired. What I really am like, God, why did it take me till their senior year to effing figure this out and walk along with them? Really, it's because they didn't tell me. I think it was near the end of last year. I was like, what are all those people coming off with the coaches? And I forget which one. It was like, oh yeah, those are the other parents. They walk along. And I'm like, fellas, what the? Yeah, exactly. What? And they're like,
let me in here.
We didn't think, yeah. Can I guys, somebody let me in. Somebody let me in. But yeah, so it's been great. I joke, it might not have been as enjoyable because they weren't as much. I mean, they were into it and they were enjoying playing, I think, but I don't think they really kind of had their game figured out. They know what how they want to play, what they want to do. So I joke in the sense of I've missed out or whatever. I don't feel that way at all. This has been awesome. This has been awesome because it's awesome. And the binoculars are a game. They've made it significantly more feasible to see as if I'm right up next to them, but without having to walk. And a lot of parents get carts. I think I told you that last time, or I mentioned that last time. Yeah. So because my fitness, I'm very happy for I'm grateful for my fitness. And now I'm grateful for binoculars because the fitness of my eyes. I don't have zoom in eyes. I'm waiting for that implant. Come on, Elon. Where's Elon Musk with that technology? Get me my binocular eyeballs. And so there you go. Grateful for my binoculars.
That's funny. I think we need to get on Elon. I was just having a conversation with Kate Brew about she loves soft serve ice cream. And she's like, you'd be surprised. It's actually really hard to find soft serve.
Isn't that Rita's? Doesn't Rita's do soft serve?
That's custard. So it's not but she's like, it's hard to find. There's a place in Shadyside that's a soft serve, and I told her that she came out. She's like, oh, it's really good. But she's like, whenever she goes places, she tries to find a good soft serve place. So to find out that these machines are I guess these soft serve machines are they're very finicky, and it's hard to find. I guess it's a specialty. Not a lot of people are trained in fixing these machines. These machines will break and they'll just sit forever because there's not technicians to
so is McDonald's not in her category of soft serve ice cream connoisseur?
Apparently that's a thing with McDonald's, that their soft serve machines are always broken. And
Oh, so if you go to get like, hey, can I get a McFlurry? They're like, sorry, our machine's
machine's
broken.
broken. Yeah, like apparently that's like a common thing with McDonald's. And
Interesting.
she's like, but she's like, I swear to God, we can send people to the moon, but we can't fix a soft serve machine. And it's like,
Well, I mean, she jokes, but that's the same. I went to a Wawa recently and was just gonna we were on the way home from rock climbing, and I was just like, I kind of want Diet Coke and like a, you know, bag of chips or something.
yeah,
And the Diet Coke tasted like, just bitter. And I'm like, God. So I poured out a nice tea, and at the front thing, I'm like, hey, yeah, something's wrong with Diet Coke. Yeah, that machine's broken. And it's one of the, you know what I mean? Like the big, huge Coca-Cola machine
it has
where
like
it's
the
like
500 options now. Yeah, yeah,
and you try to get the ice. And it's like,
yeah.
okay, now ding 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 ding. And now I can get my I'm like, what the I just wanted a Diet Coke.
Too many choices.
Yeah.
Do you want Diet Coke orange, Diet Coke vanilla, Diet Coke cherry, Diet Coke?
That's not the first time I've seen that machine. Like those machines are more often than not working than they are working. And I just it's an interesting what about that machine was attractive to the place, to the establishment, that they transitioned from whatever they had before to that.
And were people asking for like more choices? Were people asking for 7 different types of,
which is sort of in the same vein of like, were people asking for a double under clinic? So it's sort of that question, like, what is the value of that machine? Not completely the same, but you understand.
They were asking for it.
But like, what's the value of that machine? Because it's certainly not a value to the customer. So is it a value to Wawa? Is it a value to whatever?
Yeah.
If I'm McDonald's, like that's in what was the movie with Michael Keaton? Founder. It's a great movie about the founding of McDonald's as a franchise. The ice cream was a big deal. Milkshakes were a big deal because the 2 guys who started it, the brothers, they would only let them use real ice cream. But the refrigeration space and costs was prohibitive until the Michael Keaton character, Roy something or whatever his name was, went to a powder.
Ray Kroc.
Yeah, Ray Kroc went to a powder. And from the customer standpoint, they couldn't taste the difference.
Yeah.
And it was like somebody was like, one of the affiliate chains was like, hey, well, we switched over to this and our customers have no idea. It tastes exactly the same. It's actually great. And we have slashed our refrigeration costs. But it was the original 2 guys. They believed that the value was in using real ice cream.
Yeah.
But when you translate that to the value actually to the customer, it wasn't. I remember watching that and thinking like, that's fascinating. The phenomenon of like, I think something is of value, right? Like I want to run a weightlifting class or I want to run a gymnastics class. But then unless you ask the customer, and sometimes customers don't know what the F they want, but then, so, all right, so then just trust the lead or lag indicator of like, well, I run this thing, they tell me they want it, but nobody shows up. Yeah. So I don't think they actually want it. And then it's like, I don't run this thing, or somebody comes and like haphazard, like, so clearly people wanted the double under thing because, as you said, a ton of people came, people bought ropes. So it was like, oh, look at that. So it's sort of even if people said they wanted it, but then nobody shows, I don't think they wanted it. But he just sort of like offhandedly did it. And a ton of people were like, so I think you're onto something there. But that idea of value, to me seems, so those soft serve machines, I mean, are they really a value? Is like Kate Brew the only person in 100-mile radius who actually wants soft serve? Because clearly people are still going to McDonald's. Yeah. Even if the soft serve machines are broken. Yeah. So if I'm McDonald's, I'm kind of like, I ain't fixing this piece of shit. Nobody really wants it anyway. Like it costs way too much money, and 1 out of 10 people want it.
You know how often people, when they ask for a McFlurry and I say the machine's broken, drive away? None of them.
None of them, right? They still get a cheeseburger and fries. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's so that's like an interesting thought experiment from business economics conversation. But so that was a nice little rabbit hole.
Yeah, that was a good rabbit hole. cool.
You still owe your gratitude though, or is it Kate
mine
Brew and
is,
soft serve?
Mine is I don't know. I love this time of year, so I like I enjoy football. I enjoy watching football, and so like Washington won and played fantasy league. I won, and Maryland played, and
You mentioned that. I think you're 1-0 or
I'm
something.
one. Yeah, I'm 1-0.
Oh, okay.
Top scorer in the league so far.
Oh, excellent.
Came away unscathed for the most part. Like no major injuries to my team, so it's still looking good. But I just love. It is something about like this. It's almost like the energy around this time of year. Like I like getting into fall. It's starting to cool off a little bit. I do enjoy like I don't know. I think I love Thanksgiving, and so I love it. Almost feels like Halloween's fine, but it's just something about this time of year. Like I feel like people are starting to get kind of excited as we're getting toward the end of the year and we're getting toward the holidays. And again, I like that it is cooling off a little bit. I'm waiting for that first like frost or two so that kills all the damn mosquitoes in the world because they're just miserable. They're so bad. Shadyside Jack. They're so bad. So I don't know. I think that's my gratitude. I just like it's almost like Labor Day / football season is kind of like this kickoff to fall. It feels like the official kickoff to fall, and I really enjoy fall. So that's mine.
It's a good one.
Also, all my teams are winning, so that feels good too. And I am letting the league know. I am letting the league know that I have not let them forget. They also like to remind me that I'm only 2 years removed from address and usually finish in the middle of the pack. And but I'm like, nope, not this year, guys. This is the year. This is the year. But yeah, 90% of half medal. So that's it.
Cool.
I don't have Aaron Rodgers on my team, so lucky me.
Lucky you.
So cool. All right, dude. Same time next week.
Always.
Awesome. We're closing it down in